another big episode here. And I have Matt. Matt and I have been working together for a couple months now, and he is a family first guy. And that's something that's really important to me. He's a husband of 31 years. He's got 4 kids. They're a little bit older than mine. His are in the 20s, mine are in the teens now. So he's already lived my life and the craziness, and we've commiserated on all that, and also loved and felt so blessed too. He is a business owner. He's done entrepreneurship. He's been around the block more than a few times. We'll talk about managing those challenges as well. He loves to travel. I'd get pictures from here at this football game, and over here doing this thing, and then going down there and hanging on the beach and such. And that is a really important part of the undertone of Matt, and to live a life well lived. And that's when he first brought that up to me in our very first call. I'm like, yes, this is what I want. Let's live life as we go, because life is a journey, not the destination, as Aaron Smith says. So, welcome to Trim for Health, Matt. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah. Now, what were some of the big things that we were able to accomplish, like as far as the actual results go? Everyone always was like, how much weight did you lose? All this stuff. And what happened?
Yeah, well, for me, it wasn't as much just losing weight. It was coming up with an approach, a simple
Yeah.
approach to be specific to do it. I track everything in my life to down to the spreadsheet level. And for some reason, when it comes to eating, I don't like doing that. I don't like doing the macro thing. I don't like having to count. So for me,
Sure.
it was the big win is that I've got an approach. It's simple and it travels with me everywhere I go around the world and all the different places I've been. And it's straightforward, and I don't have to overthink it. And so you helped me create a an approach to nutrition that wasn't. I was 20 years in the military, so it wasn't a military approach. It was something that you worked with me, and that's what I liked about most is that it was something that you worked with me to make it mine, not just a generic, off the shelf,
Yeah.
approach. So.
Super important. And that's definitely it. I love this saying. I call it the long term bias approach, is what we do in 2 weeks, we do in 2 months, we do in 2 years. And that's from the get go. And that's exactly what we are able to create here as well. What did the physical body change? Like, what were those results as far as they go?
Yeah, so far, it's interesting. I'd never had a problem with the movement side, so I loved to exercise
No,
my
you
whole
love
life.
moving.
So that was not the issue. I dropped 40 pounds so
Yeah.
far, and what I like about it, it didn't come off like overnight. It's a slow, progressive, and,
Right.
and and it's a marathon for me, not a sprint. And so, I mean, if I wanted to starve myself, I could do that. I'm fairly
Sure.
disciplined, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to live a life well lived, like you said earlier, and I
Yes.
wanted to enjoy certain things. I can be specific about what I like to enjoy, and you worked with me to help create a plan that would allow. I mean, not stupidity, not just plowing
No,
through
no.
cakes and cookies all day long, but something that allowed me to do things I truly loved, and I had to drop some things that were bad habits and just nice to have. So,
Right.
yeah, so I've lost weight, and I continue to lose weight. I feel great, and I haven't lost any strength.
That's
I don't,
awesome.
push-ups, sit-ups, all that stuff, pull-ups. Actually, I've gotten better at pull-ups. By dropping 40 pounds, that helps when you're not hanging on a bar
Yeah.
with. So anyway, so net, everything's positive.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about some of the day to day life, the busyness. So, being an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you track numbers and you travel a lot. And so, let's talk about some of those things of how busy you are, because every single person I've ever worked with is all capitals BUSY.
Yeah. So for me, because I'm busy and bouncing around with different businesses and different travel, and I love, you mentioned earlier, I love sports. So,
Yeah.
I love going to games and stadiums and college football in
Hmm.
particular, but pro
Yep.
sports as well. So it's busy. And I think navigating that where you have all the temptations of beer and food and nachos and stuff. There are ways to get around that are less harmful with while still allowing you to enjoy it, not have to be that
Right.
person who's saying, no, I'm not eating a hot dog today because I'm crazy into this health thing. And so you can, and I did it quietly, nobody even knew I was doing it, frankly. So
Even
it
better.
I didn't pull out charts at dinners and start tracking stuff. I just quietly did my thing, passed on the rolls,
Yes.
for example, and over-indexed on protein and good veggies, and again, next thing you know, it just started to work.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a huge little thing that Matt just pulled out there is we want to do this quietly. We want to do this incognito, or I always joke being in quotations a diet ninja in a sense. No one should know that you're doing this. You're just making these lifestyle choices and behavior changes over time, consistently and repeatedly around things that you can commit to doing. So passing on the bread basket for a lot of people, that can be an easy win to cut out 1 to 400 calories at a meal, but you also enjoyed having some wine and such. So we can't have wine and the bread basket too, because all of a sudden too many calories are coming from those type of food sources that it's pretty quick to have those things start pulling us away from what our goals are as far as any just calorie management in general, right? One turns into three rolls and you got butter. Next, you know, it's like 600 calories just from the bread basket. So
Right.
excellent, excellent. Now, with so we travel. I would get a bunch of pictures from you either on a beach or in a football stadium and all. Now, what were some of the go-to uh, thoughts, patterns of behavior that continue to mold and you into a new body and lose this weight?
Yeah. So a couple things that come to mind right off the top. Is knowing that you're going to be tonight. I'm going to a concert. So I
Yeah.
knew that yesterday. I knew that the day before. So leading into that, I over-indexed steps. So I went on a
Right.
6 mile ruck instead of a 4 mile ruck. And so
Right.
today I put a little extra into the workout. So thinking about the fact that I know at this concert I am going to do quote unquote bad things, but I'm going to enjoy myself. I don't want to. So
Right.
I think about that today. I think about that tomorrow. And so planning
Right.
and not over planning, not overthinking it, just simply knowing that. And then leading into it, again, over indexing protein, really trying to pass on the breads and the sweets and all that stuff, and really just eating healthy, cleaner. But leading into it also helps me kind of prepare. So that's one of the techniques that you kind of got me thinking about is you don't have to and you don't have to give up everything. Now, try not to eat 15 piles of nachos. That's also just smart, but I can
Right.
still enjoy what I want without. And the wine, you talked about wine. I love wine. Knowing that if you're going to have a couple glasses of wine with a meal, you better really pass on the bread. And so just
Right.
being thoughtful and intentional about what you're putting on your plate, what you're putting in your mouth, and that doesn't mean just at the meal, but it's maybe the day before and the day after is something you kind of taught me.
Yeah, definitely. I am a huge fan of what we call middle gear mentality, and I say it frequently. And a lot of guys are stuck in that all or nothing approach. You can't have carbs, or you can't eat because you're fasting all day, or something, or you get into these got to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice from the 1980s or something. And we don't have to do that. Once we have education around our nutrition, then what Matt is sharing is this middle gear mentality, which allows you to make active choices around what you want to experience while still working toward your goals. Super duper important. With a business, with kids, with travel, with all the daily responsibilities that Matt has, he has to find that give and take in this relationship with food so he can improve that relationship and be able to be good. The other thing that I really enjoy is practicing MBF, call it moderation, balance, flexibility. Those are always built into everyone's life because we're all human. We're all gonna, in quotations, mess up and or have a little too much fun on the 4th of July as it just came and went here as of this recording. And that is really important so that you can go enjoy the experiences, but then again, not have to say overdo it and work extra hard to burn off those calories there. Now, what were some of the process that you tried before that still unfortunately didn't lead you to where you wanted to be at?
Yeah, I mean, I probably tried it all, keto and Weight Watchers and all that stuff. And what I realized was a couple things. One, it felt generic. It felt
Right.
didn't feel tailored to me. And I'm not anti AI and Google and all that stuff, but it just didn't seem like it was meant for me.
Sure.
And then when I had questions about, and everyone has an opinion about this. So good example that I use with you is Diet Coke. I like Diet Coke. And some people are frankly over the top about you can't put any Diet Coke in your mouth. You'll die tomorrow. And so it was interesting having that conversation. You'd also send some information to support your points. You're clear about not being a doctor. You're health coach,
Of
coach,
course,
but
right.
and then that helps though because you're not trying to oversell it, but also you're giving some real studies that talk about the good, the
Right.
bad, and the ugly of everything, and in moderation. Don't drink 55 cans of Diet Coke a day, but
Of
if you want to
course.
have one or two, if that's a nice way to kind of crave the sweet, that's that. So
Right.
that helped me a lot. And so the programs I tried, I did the fasting, the intermittent fasting, all that stuff, and it wasn't working. And not that I'm not disciplined. I'm a pretty disciplined guy, so
Yeah, you
I
very much
would
are.
definitely try it. It wasn't working for me, and so
Right.
and then I will say having it like an accountability side of it too, like checking in, whatever is periodically, that helps because then no one will let you down because not to mention I'm
Right.
paying for it. So it was that whole process kind of really clicked for me.
Yeah, that's excellent. And science backed information implemented into the easiest way possible. That's definitely what I'm always looking at and understanding. Okay, is there a PubMed research backed peer reviewed study that supports the claims that I'm making? Because I, most importantly, don't want to show up on the internet and some people start using me as reaction videos, right? Like,
Right.
oh my gosh, like, well, I don't want that's not how I want to gain popularity in a sense of people saying, "Yeah, this sounds good," but there's no truth to it. Like I have peers that are this one guy named Alan, and he just does a really great job supporting all his information with peer-reviewed and backed journal studies. And then when we hear something, hey, your body's craving meat, well, you're missing this type of vitamin. There's no supportive evidence to claim that. And so that's really important to note that that might just be your feelings. Your, in quotations, body craving some food or sodium doesn't necessarily imply that there's any relevance to it. And it's just you're looking, humans can create bias any which way they want. You're looking for something salty. So,
Right.
all right, excellent. Now, let's jump into the life well lived. That is huge important to me. I personally want to live, 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 die. I want to leave a legacy that I was a healthy fit person that my kids looked up to and modeled after my behaviors around, especially taking care of themselves. But also, I try and be a great husband and great father as well. That's important. I'm a human, so I do mess up here and there or whatever. I get a little grumpy sometimes, but uh that's important to me. So share what that is to you.
Yeah, so for me, and I kind of pulled in different aspects of. So for me, a life well lived, to help define it, is there's 7 domains of happiness, and one of them is health and fitness, and so
Right.
that's one of them. And I think you said it earlier, and I totally agree. There's got to be a balance there. So another domain is work. So there's nothing wrong with work, but if you work too much and you focus on any one domain, well, that can
Mhm.
then get things out of balance. Family is one of them. Friends is one of them. Having fun, ironically, is one of them. And so it's interesting. Sometimes people, especially people who are kind of A type and hard chargers, sometimes forget to have fun. And so you
Yes.
don't want to get to 60, 70, 80 and realize, wow, I didn't do the things I want to do. And then it's too late. And I think I've heard on some of your podcasts where, the body does age, everyone loses against father time,
Right.
but can you make yourself in a better position to enjoy those later years? That
Right.
also was for me something that is part of that life well lived. And travel is part of it. So part of our fun is in travel and seeing things.
Right.
So that life well lived thing really, really is important because and it changes and it evolves. And so I sit down with my
Of
wife. We
course.
walk daily. We have talks all the time about this, and goals change as they should. And so we're always
Right.
kind of, but we've used that framework, that notion of life well lived, and making sure that we're doing things with intentionality. And again, your program, the health part, is one of the hardest ones I think for people too, just to try to be fit and not just losing weight is great, but you want to be strong and have the strength to do to support things. So but yeah, life well lived for me is really about those 7 domains, keeping them in balance, keeping them in check, knowing that, like you said, we're all humans, we make mistakes, giving yourself some grace,
Right.
but keeping that focus.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And I got to participate in that white life well lived as well, seeing pictures of you literally having fun and enjoying yourself and still having success. And that's where I like to say thread the needle and figure out, okay, who is this person? What do they care about? Why do they care about it? What's important? And how do we get them to their goal line? What success looks like for them? And for Matt, he enjoyed some vino. He enjoyed travel and going places and going to a concert and enjoying those things. And that was super important. So I had to make sure that I worked with those guidelines so that he could continue doing it, right? That long term bias. Well, we do in 2 weeks, we do in 2 months, we do in 2 years, so on and so forth. Now, what was the biggest challenge like when we first got going? I think I remember someone called you out a little bit. There's a nice little gentle call out like, hey, we need to get the body in gear here along with these other domains.
Yeah, yeah, the biggest challenge was just I was living having too much fun, I think, and so it was, just not keeping that balance, and so even though some of the stuff isn't rocket science.
No,
Don't put
none
a
of it
cake in your
is.
mouth. Don't. But it's just not having that intentionality. So for me, it was
Right.
that really being focused on driving down and really making it a priority. Especially, I had a close friend who got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and it really resonated with me that like we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow,
Right.
and you don't want to worry about it necessarily either, but certainly you don't want to let things slip. So for me, it was a kind of a couple things coming together, and that really kind of motivated me to kind of get off the and get
Get
on
off the
track. Start to
couch and yeah,
right,
get
right.
moving. Yeah. And dropping 40 pounds statistically puts you in a significantly less category to have heart disease, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol issues, these things that body joint issues, all of those things are really going to slow down your life and even shorten it quite a bit because it's just an unhealthy state to live in, and finding that balance back to more of a normal body weight and healthy food and all this stuff. So good. Now, if someone's listening in and they're just not sure where to start, or I literally had a guy today that signed up for the Call to Rise 100-day fat loss challenge. He couldn't trust himself. He tried so many times to lose the weight and do these diets and all this stuff. But this was actually the first time he's actually getting coaching and support to learn how to do this properly. Like, what would you tell someone listening in to help them, encourage them to take better care of themselves and take the next step?
Yeah, for me, I mean, again, the reality is obviously there's a cost to it. So I'm sure some people are like, well, geez, I can do this on my own, try it on my own. And I think the way I look at it is think where you spend your money, and is it worth spending it on yourself to get fit and healthy? So that's the first challenge. I think that a lot of
Sure.
people probably, I had it for a while too. I thought I could do it myself. Like I said,
Right.
thought I was a disciplined guy. And then after I got past that cost thing, it was, gosh, it really is helpful to have someone you can bounce it off. And I liked our approach where, frankly, it was on the phone. It wasn't face to face. So
Yeah.
like, I could be honest and vulnerable with you, and I don't know you that well. It's like, I don't even know where you live, frankly. And so it helped be very open,
Yeah.
and I could just go uncut with you. So I think for me it was, I get why people don't necessarily want to, do the coaching, but for all the things in your life that why wouldn't you?
Right.
In hindsight, it's like, oh boy, and if you can have someone, especially the way you're approached, and I didn't look at a lot of other coaches, I went right to you, but you really did tailor it to me, and I can't say
Right.
how important that was for me, because if you would start telling me I got to go out and start doing, I don't know, things I don't want to do,
Tracking your food, right? That
right?
was one of the first things in the beginning you said. It's like, I can't track my food. I'm tracking all these other numbers in my life, like food,
Yeah.
and oh, I can't do it.
Well, I tried it too. I actually did the My Fitness you talked about. What's My Fitness Pal, I
My
think
Fitness
was a free
Pal,
one.
and yeah, right.
And then I found out I was eating less than, according to the app, less than 2,000 calories a day, but yet I was still gaining weight. It didn't make sense. So I don't even think
Right.
they're accurate. So spending a lot of time
Yeah.
tracking stuff that is, you're guessing more times, especially I do like to go out to eat a lot and travel a lot. So you
Right.
can't just pick up a package and read the calories on it when you're at a restaurant. It's, you're trying to make,
Right.
so having ways to look at a plate, and a quarter of the plate is X and a quarter of the plate is Y.
Right.
Just those techniques really help. I'm probably not answering your question real well here. I would
No,
say
you
just,
you are.
just
You actually
just
are,
do it.
because a lot of guys will come in and be like, do we track calories or what do we do? How do I eat food? And well, we have to teach you a process and a system of approach. And being a business owner, you understand systems and processes to get, say, key performance indicators, those KPIs to get the ROIs. And that's what we set you up with. I like to act as a trusted advisor. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what you got out of me, right? Is like, okay, this guy is aligned with my goals. He is knowledgeable. He's supportive. He's there when I need him, regardless of whatever state or country you're in. And we can engage and help you understand what the answer is to this question that you have. What is the next best thing you can do right now in this moment to move toward your goals and keep making progress? And if we get stumped, then you and I have to figure out, okay, we're going to roll our sleeves up. Why are we stuck here? And not everyone loses weight consistently and reliably. And weight loss is not linear, people. It does go up and down, but we want the trend to go down over time. And we have to just come together if there is, say, in quotations, a plateau or something. It's just usually past behaviors of the week or two dictate why they are not moving forward. They're just not in a calorie deficit. So we have to understand why and help the person understand that so that they can make forward progress. So you did amazing. You're an ideal client. I love working with you. And I'm so appreciative for you coming on today to share your story to help motivate other people, because your story is the common story that I work with, that you've been working hard, you raised your family, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute here, my belly is past my toes,
Yep.
and this is not a good look, feel, or energy that I want for who I am as a person, especially when you talk about those domains. You are not well rounded. I mean, I guess in the middle, you're well rounded, but that's not the well rounding you want. So
For sure.
excellent. Well, I thank you so much, Matt, for coming on and sharing your wisdom, our process together. I super appreciate you being able to do that. And I hope that someone listening is motivated and inspired, and you hear your story inside Matt's. And if you do, then take some action. At the very least, listen to my podcast. There's so many that tell you exactly what to do. But if you do need that extra support, accountability, and direction, then that's what I'm here for. I'm the trusted guide to lead you through this health journey. And that's what the Call to Rise is. It's a 100-day fat loss challenge. We have 5 pillars that we work off of: your identity, identifying with who that person is you actually want to be seen as and have as a legacy. We've got the Forge, which is your exercise and movement. We've got the Fuel, which is eating the right foods at the right time in the right amount. We've got the Code, which is your mindset and get to think differently, see things through different lenses and perceptions. And the last one is the Brotherhood. So you have me as the lead, and you have other guys going through this situation, because this is, unfortunately, it's normal. Between 40 and 60 is a grind for aging parents, aging kids, aging responsibilities of life, and you get lost in the middle of it, and you don't want to wake up when you're 60 or something and realize, wow, I should have paused and slowed down and taken care of myself. And that's what that is. So if that interests you, thecalltorise.com, check it out. Matt, thanks so much again for having you. Appreciate your hard work, effort, focus, and your fun that we're able to have together. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.
Bye bye, everyone.